As Waspo was sent flying back from the punch of the mysterious fighter, African and Mexican caught him. As Waspo stood up, African, Mexican, and Waspo all put their guards up to prepare for a fight. The figure that had hit Waspo was bent down over Scary Grandma's body, seemingly chanting an incantation that no one could understand. As he finished this incantation, he stood back up to face the crew of fighters. He simply introduced himself as Scary Grandpa. Scary Grandpa then pointed to Waspo and flew at him at unimaginable speeds, hitting Waspo into the air. African and Mexican tried to chase Waspo down, but they were stopped by Scary Grandma. African said, "Get out of my way." As he said this, he threw a punch at Scary Grandma, but his hand was blocked and grabbed. Scary Grandma then tried to throw a punch at African, but just as her hand was about to hit him, it was punched out of the way by Mexican. African took this moment to punch Scary Grandma in the ribs, making her stumble back a little. As both fighters jumped back, African said, "Shit, she's strong. She might even be stronger than the obese guy we fought a few weeks ago." Mexican said, "She is definitely stronger than that guy. After we all fused, we kept the power from that fusion, even after it was over." African said, "Then this is going to be tough, isn't it?" Mexican said, "Yeah, it's gonna be tough. We might not be able to win this one." As they said this, both fighters charged at Grandma. Mexican's fist clashed with Grandma's right hand, and African's fist clashed with her left hand. This pushed Grandma back a little. In retaliation, Grandma grabbed both their hands and slammed both fighters together. As both fighters fell to the ground dazed, Grandma tried to crush them both with a stomp. Both fighters moved out of the way. As African stood up, he was hit with a backhand by Scary Grandma, sending him flying back. Super Mexican then hit Scary Grandma with a bunch of punches to the face and ribs, but Scary Grandma just tanked it with minor damage and grabbed Mexican by the face, slamming him into the ground. As Scary Grandma did this, she was hit in the back by African, knocking her into the ground. As this happened, Mexican jumped into the air with African, and both fighters slammed down into Scary Grandma at blistering speeds. Then suddenly, both fighters were sent flying back by an explosion of power from Scary Grandma. African said, "I think it's time to step it up a notch," as his skin started to emit steam and turn dark black. Mexican said the same as he compacted his aura to be 10 times more dense. Scary Grandma then grew another head and 2 more arms. As she did this, African ran in to hit Scary Grandma. Scary Grandma tried to block it, but African's punch knocked her off balance. Super Mexican came in with a move called Cell-Splitting Guillotine, which carved an X-shaped slash into her chest. In retaliation, Scary Grandma grabbed both fighters and dragged them through the ground. She then threw both of them into the air and shot blasts at them, sending both of them flying up. As they were flying up, Scary Grandma chased them, but Mexican grabbed African by the leg and threw him at Scary Grandma. Scary Grandma was hit directly in the jaw, sending her flying down. As African fell back to the ground, he was hit by a flurry of punches to the chest, breaking his ribs. Before African could be hit again, Mexican flew down, slashing Scary Grandma in the back, making her wince in pain. Scary Grandma grabbed Super Mexican by the face and blasted him in the chest, burning his skin and breaking some of his bones. But then suddenly, Scary Grandma was hit by a punch to the gut from African, which went straight through her gut. Mexican took this opportunity to chop off her head, killing Scary Grandma for good. As both fighters fell to the ground, African said, "We did it. We actually won." As he said this, both of them passed out due to their injuries. Over in the distance, Scary Grandpa and Waspo were about to fight. Waspo asked, "Why are you even attacking us?" Scary Grandpa responded, "You think we are fighting you on our own will? You obviously don't understand the situation you are in, son. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't having fun. It's been a while since I have gotten to fight someone as strong as you. So let's just cut the talking and get to fighting." As Scary Grandpa said this, he flew at Waspo and hit him in the face before he could react, sending Waspo flying. As Waspo was flying back, Scary Grandpa tried to hit him again. As Scary Grandpa threw his punch, Waspo threw a punch. As both fists collided, a huge explosion of white light went off, sending both fighters back. As both fighters got there, Waspo sent a beam towards Scary Grandpa by punching the air. Scary Grandpa blocked this beam with his hand, but as he put his hand down, Waspo was already in front of him. Waspo then hit Scary Grandpa with a spin kick to the head. In retaliation, Waspo was hit in the stomach by Scary Grandpa, but Waspo was able to focus all of his ki on his stomach to block this punch, making him take minimal damage. As Waspo stood back up, he was suddenly punched by Scary Grandpa. As Waspo stumbled to the ground, he asked himself, how? How did he just hit me? He didn't even move. What's going on? As Waspo was thinking, he was hit in the face by Scary Grandpa. Waspo tried to hit Scary Grandpa back, but he was suddenly hit in the face again. Waspo said to himself, how? He isn't even punching me. How is he hitting me? It's like he is hitting me twice with a delay. Waspo tried to hit Scary Grandpa, but his hand was grabbed and pushed back. Waspo was hit again in the face, but without Scary Grandpa moving, Waspo was hit in the place he was pushed. Waspo said to himself, that's it. I figured it out. Every time he touches me, he puts some sort of mark on my body. And when that mark is on my body, he is able to activate his ability, which throws an undodgeable instantaneous attack in the last place he touched me. Waspo hit back at Scary Grandpa, but as Scary Grandpa activated his ability, Waspo focused his ki on the area he was last hit, effectively blocking the move. Waspo then landed a punch on Scary Grandpa, sending him back and making him spit out a little blood. Waspo then hit Scary Grandpa again. Scary Grandpa hit back and landed a hit on Waspo's stomach. Waspo tried to hit back, expecting Scary Grandpa to use his ability, but Scary Grandpa weaved Waspo's punch and hit him with a punch to the head. As Waspo flew back, he tried to send out a beam, but Scary Grandpa set off his ability and hit Waspo in the stomach, making him spit out blood. Waspo thought to himself, how can I stop this ability from going off? If I don't find a way to stop it, I'm going to die at this rate. Wait, I think I know what I can do. Waspo covered his body in an armor-like barrier with his ki energy. Waspo was hit by Scary Grandpa, but Waspo just hit back with all the power he had. When Scary Grandpa used his ability, it only affected the armor Waspo had on, effectively making Scary Grandpa's ability useless. The only problem was Waspo could not do this for long, so he had to turn it on and off in specific places so he wouldn't be hit by Scary Grandpa's ability. Waspo ran in and hit Scary Grandpa with multiple punches to every part of his body. Scary Grandpa was sent flying back, but before Waspo could hit him again, Waspo got hit in the face and then again by his ability. Even though Waspo had found the counter to his ability, it still didn't change the fact that Scary Grandpa would hit twice every time he hit Waspo. He could not keep up with his punches even now. Waspo had to think fast. Waspo then summoned a giant pole using his ki powers. Waspo then hit Scary Grandpa in the head with his pole. He then spun the pole around and hit Scary Grandpa in the leg. When Scary Grandpa tried to hit back, Waspo just blocked his punches with the pole and punished him. Then Scary Grandpa pulled out his walking cane. Waspo and Scary Grandpa started to go at it, each fighter not being able to get a hit off. Waspo couldn't do this for much longer. Even though Waspo was strong, Scary Grandpa had a seemingly infinite amount of stamina. The next time Waspo and Scary Grandpa clashed, Waspo's pole suddenly wrapped around Scary Grandpa's walking cane. Waspo ripped the cane out of his hands and then delivered a kick to Scary Grandpa's chest, sending him flying. Waspo then grabbed Scary Grandpa with a bunch of small strings made out of his ki. He pulled Scary Grandpa back to him and delivered a blow to the chest, but then Waspo's fist started to glow gold. While Waspo's fist was still on Scary Grandpa's chest, Waspo's hand exploded, sending Scary Grandpa flying back with a huge hole in his chest. Before Scary Grandpa could heal his injury, Waspo shot a beam through Scary Grandpa's arms and legs, picking him up. Waspo then slammed him into the ground. While Scary Grandpa was lying on the ground, Waspo went into the air and charged his final move. Waspo then said, "I'm going to blow this whole place up with explosives." Waspo then sent a huge ball of gold at Scary Grandpa. Scary Grandpa tried to stop it, but he couldn't. He was slowly crushed and pushed into the ground, then the ball exploded, vaporizing Scary Grandpa and the dimension they were in. As this happened, all the fighters reappeared in the real world. Waspo was exhausted, as was African and Mexican. Waspo regenerated all of his power really fast, but African and Mexican were out for a while. As Waspo was walking back to the mountain he was meditating on, suddenly Waspo was grabbed and thrown at a googolplex times faster than light into the air, sending him flying out of the universe and into a dimension higher than our own. It was Scary Grandpa. He had fused with Scary Grandma. He was now far beyond them. He was Super Scary Grandparent. Waspo had taken considerable damage from moving at such a speed. As Waspo spun uncontrollably in the air, he was hit by a punch from a hand that was the size of multiple dimensions. Waspo, almost at death's door, heard a voice say, "You can't win this fight, so I'll bless you with 1% power." As this happened, Waspo was instantly healed. Waspo's body surged with power. Waspo then made a construct of a huge mech made out of his ki power, crashing with Super Scary Grandpa's fist, sending shockwaves that vaporized multiple dimensions. Waspo's new form was called Gongan Dimension Splitter. Grandparent then grabbed a dimension and crushed it in his hands, converting all the power it would ever have into a beam. Waspo was hit by this beam, but he wrapped his energy around it like strings, crushing it through pure strength. Then Waspo split his arm into an infinite number of blades and swords, slamming them into Grandparent. Grandparent's arm was cut completely off, but from the open wound came a bunch of strings and spikes. These spikes pierced Waspo everywhere on his body. Waspo then grabbed all of the spikes Grandparent sent out and slammed him into hundreds of dimensions. Waspo then punched Grandparent in the face. Waspo forged his left arm into a chainsaw, but when Waspo tried to hit Grandparent, he grabbed the chainsaw and broke it. Waspo was then hit by a hit to the ribs, a face hit, a head hit, a left hook, a right jab, a left jab, a right uppercut. As Waspo moved up, Grandparent grabbed his foot, slamming Waspo into the ground. Then Waspo got hit by a left hook, a kick to the face, a knee to the ribs, an elbow to the chin, a chop to the arm, a right backhand, a left slap, and a left punch, sending Waspo flying back. In retaliation, Waspo hit Scary Grandpa with a hit to the face, a two-handed hit to the top of his head, a kick to the left leg, a right hook to the face, a left hook to the ribs, a right punch to the stomach, and a left jab to the kidney. Waspo then discombobulated Super Scary Grandparent. Waspo then hit Grandparent with a slap to the face, a punch to the throat, a chop to the neck, body, and leg, a kick to the face, and a chop to the leg. Waspo then grabbed Grandparent by the face and spun him around. While he was spinning, Waspo hit him with a kick to the head. Then a left hook. Waspo then wrapped his left arm around Grandparent, hitting him with a right hook, a right jab, a knee to the side, a left jab, and then Waspo palmed Super Scary Grandparent, slamming them into thousands of dimensions. Waspo then drop-kicked him and then hit him with a low kick, an uppercut, a right jab, a headbutt, and a kick. Waspo then stabbed Super Scary Grandparent with a bunch of needles made from his ki. While Super Scary Grandparent was stuck, unable to move, Waspo charged a move called Collapsing Dimension Zero Entropy Sky-Ripping Space Cannon. As Waspo unleashed this move, Super Scary Grandparent had a hole blasted into his chest. Grandparent was killed instantly. As he died, he chanted an ancient incantation, releasing evil into existence. Waspo then passed out from the energy he had used. Waspo reawoke back at his home in his base dimension. Waspo feared what type of evil Super Scary Grandparent released into existence.